Hey there, folks, and welcome back inside the Northern Fútbol Podcast. Ben Steiner alongside Alex Gongi-Ruzic and Brendan Dunlop, and we're joined by Canadian men's national team right back, midfielder, striker maybe at some point, Niko Sigur. Welcome into the show, Niko. Great to have you.
Great to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
And Niko, I've watched you for a long time, and I think maybe a little bit longer than most because I used to do the play-by-play on your games at York University in the 1 year there. Can you tell us a little bit about your time there and maybe throw back to that goal you scored against Ryerson and I think it was the OUA semifinal?
Yeah, interesting to hear that you're on that game. I remember that game very well. York was a very exciting time for me. It was something new. I moved away from home. At the time, I was 17. I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. I knew that it was going to be a difficult team to play for. From what I saw, a lot of young guys weren't playing for York. It was 2021 summer. I made the move to Toronto. Me and my dad went. We were living downtown, and then I was training with York Vaughan, and then the season started up with York in August. And I think due to my trainings and the games I played with them in the summer, that I earned a starting spot. And then I remember the first game didn't go very well. We actually lost, and I thought for sure I was gonna get taken out of the team. But thanks to Carm and his trust, that I stayed in, and we actually had a really good season. Individually, I did really well. I had one of the most minutes on the team, I think, and for being that young, it was cool to see that. And then the season ended. We didn't go to nationals, but like I said, it was a pretty positive 2-3 months there. And then after that, I didn't really know what was next. I remember going back to Vancouver in the winter, and I was planning on coming back to York, which is what I did in February, but that was pretty short-lived. So my time at York, it was only 5-6 months, but a very memorable and enjoyable one, yeah.
True NFP Deep Cup. We opened the show by going right into youth sports. I think that's a classic. But I guess we'll ask you about why you're in Montreal, because you're obviously with the Canada men's national team. It's now been 13 months since you officially committed, Niko. Time flies because it both feels like it was last week that you were, announced, but also a long time ago. How have you found those 13 months? How is it like being a part of this Canadian men's national team?
Yeah, it's been a very good year so far. I remember coming in, the intensity and the level was very good, and it took a little bit of adjusting to get used to and to meet the players, to get familiar with Jesse and his staff's tactics and what he demanded of us. But I think I fitted in fairly well, as I knew a lot of the guys growing up in Vancouver Academy or just playing against them throughout my youth. And then as time went on, at the start I wasn't getting the minutes maybe I wanted, but at the same time I also didn't expect anything else because I knew I had to fight for a spot. And then I remember I played in November against Suriname, which I thought I did well when I came in, and it was a nice win there. And then obviously I got the big opportunity against the US in the Nations League third place game, which I thought again I did well. As of recent in the Gold Cup, that's when I got a good amount of minutes, and then obviously I scored my first goal, and I think everything kind of picked up from there. But obviously it took me some camps to kind of earn my place and get into the team.
Niko, how have you found it in finding your feet in the national team and being at this international level when it hasn't been a defined role for you, your strength being defensive midfielder, that there's the option to be there at right back? We've seen you score goals now. I'm sure in training there's probably an opportunity for you to even test your skills up front in some mini games and stuff. How have you found that, just not having a defined set position as you are finding your feet in the national team program?
To be honest, as of now, I don't really have a problem with it, just because I'm so young and I want to keep getting more caps and getting called into the team. So it's not something that concerns me in the short term. Maybe for the long term, that I would like to have more of a set role, not only for country but also for club. But my mentality is that being on the field is better than being off the field. So if the coach wants to play me out of position and he thinks I can do a good job there, then obviously I'm not going to tell him not to do that. But I think my strength and my qualities as a player in general is to be versatile and to play multiple places on the field. But as of now, I'm enjoying how I'm being used in the national team, and that's up to Jesse and his staff on making a decision if they want to play me elsewhere. But I'm not gonna contest anything.
And Niko, we hear a lot about competition within this Canadian team for roles on the roster, roles in the starting lineup. We know you're versatile, whether it's midfield or right back, but take us through what internal competition really looks like, because we hear that buzzword a lot, but what does it look like in training? What does it look like in your mentality? Just sort of take us through what internal competition really is.
Well, of course, you have your teammates, but at the same time, everybody wants to play, and people want to be on the field. But for the national team, from what I've experienced, it's a good environment. It's healthy competition. For me, I'm not really looking who I'm going up directly, just because I'm constantly being rotated in two positions. So I'm just trying to be ready for what's asked of me, whether it be in the midfield or right back. So I'm not necessarily looking at who I'm going against, but rather what I need to do to be ready to play.
Niko, I'm kind of curious. I wanted to pick up on something that I'm always fascinated about with dual nationals, like the decision you had to make to join Canada. Obviously, Croatia were courting you. You got invited to some pre-camps. Just kind of speak to that whole experience, because especially in your case, like Croatian, I have a Slovenian grandfather actually, so I kind of have a good idea of culturally just how strong people feel from in that region of the world. It's a special connection. Obviously, must have been tough as a Croatian playing at a Croatian club to weigh that decision. Like, take us through that whole process.
I believe I made the decision in August of last year, so August 2024, but it was something on my mind even when I first committed to the Croatian U21 team. And being born and raised in Canada, it's a little bit of a different situation than a lot of the dual nationals that are in Europe. For example, in Germany or Austria, there's a lot of Croatians. They're very close to the country. Most of their parents, the language they speak with them is Croatian. For me, I didn't even know Croatian growing up. I only learned it when I moved to the country 3 years ago. From scratch, like I was a foreigner, but people looked at me a little different because I had a Croatian passport. I was playing for the Croatian national team, and obviously there's a little more pressure on me there to learn the language and adapt. But I tried not to think about it as little as possible, and to let my decisions come naturally. And obviously you want to think about what you're doing, but the national team is something different. You're choosing to go there to play. You're not under contract. You get called up for every camp, and I wanted to make a decision that I wanted to go there. And as for the decision while I was playing in Croatia, obviously, yeah, a lot of people told me that this could affect your status in your club, and people might not look at you the same, but at the end of the day, this is a life that I'm living, the career that I have to play, and I want to be content in what I'm doing and where I'm playing. So they can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, I'm at peace with what I've decided.
Niko, as unbiased professional journalists that Ben, Alex, and I are, there's not too many news headlines that provoke a real big reaction. In my case, smacking the table at a cafe when I saw the news headline that Gennaro Gattuso had taken the Italy job exclusively because that meant you would no longer get to work with him day to day at a club level. What was it like working with him as a defensive midfielder? I can only imagine that you were constantly picking his brain, or were able to absorb so much. It's very clear that you are a big thinking player, and just very curious that hear what your experience was like with Gennaro Gattuso and what you took away from working with him at Hajduk Split.
Yeah, with Gattuso it was interesting because he started playing me at right wing, and I would say I learned the most from him more in a mental aspect than it was, like you're saying, as a defensive midfielder. I didn't really play too much defensive midfield. But I remember early on in the season that he was putting me on the bench a lot, and it seemed like he was testing me. But in the end, it made me a lot stronger. And then through my performances, we had a talk after, I think, one of the national team breaks. It might have been October or November. I think it was November. And then he's like, you know what? You've been working so well. You're going to start against Dinamo at right wing. You've handled it well with your performances and everything. And then in that game, I scored. So with him, yeah, I felt like he tested me a lot. We had some battles because we're both strong personalities, but in the end, I felt like I developed a lot on a professional aspect on how to carry myself and how to get through difficult moments. And yeah, that was my main takeaway with him.
And Niko, people sometimes sleep on the size and, just realm that Hajduk Split is as a club. You have that big derby that you just mentioned against Dinamo. What's it like to play in such a pressure cooker of a club, especially with those supporters that, it might not be of the size of the Juventuses and the FC Bayern Munich's, but it's certainly, one of the world's biggest clubs, especially in Croatia.
Yeah, it's a very unique place and club to play for. And I think that you need to be in the club to really understand what it is to play there. It's a small city. Split isn't so big, and everybody essentially knows everybody, especially when the players are out. You're going to get recognized. There's a big obsession around the club. It's almost like an identity of the city, and not only the city, but that whole region of Croatia, the Dalmatian region. So there's a lot of pressure, and when it goes bad, it's really bad. But when it goes good, it's the best feeling in the world. Winning derbies there, winning trophies there. I won the Croatian Cup. It was an unbelievable feeling. But definitely it comes with a lot of responsibility. And, when you're not doing well, you're going to hear about it. And that's just the reality. Whether it's good or bad, I don't really pay too much attention to it. I just try to give my best on the field, like all my teammates. It's a special club for sure.
He's mentioned you got a strong personality. You got on, well with Gattuso once you guys kind of found that balance. What's it been like in this Canadian team? Because there's such unique personalities in this group, starting with Jesse at the top. In the squad, you got vibrant, loud guys. You got quieter guys. Just how do you fit? How have you found yourself fitting in? And what's it like to be part of this Canadian team in that regard?
Yeah, definitely a lot of vibrant personalities. It's different for me coming to the Canadian team. I was just so used to not being around guys that are speaking English a lot, and the jokes and the music and just the whole atmosphere. But it's been a lot of fun whenever I get to come and play for Canada. I know it's going to be a good time. I know there's going to be lots of jokes and we're going to enjoy it. But at the same time, the guys really work well here. They work very hard. They're very dedicated. So I would say on both fronts, as in a enjoyment aspect off the field, but also on the field, it's fantastic.
Promise David told us that Ishmael Kone controls the music. Is that true? Like he has exclusivity? Do you get to put any of your mixes in there? And who are you hanging out with when you guys are off the pitch and you got some downtime?
As for music, I'm not sure because I always wear my headphones and listen to my stuff. And I have like a mixture of rap, Balkan, normal songs. I listen to a little bit of everything. And then as for the guys on the team, to be honest, I wouldn't say there's one that I'm closer to than the other. I'm pretty good with everybody on the team. So since I came in, there was not like that one guy from Vancouver that's my age that, obviously I would go towards them. Like a lot of the guys are older than me. I'm roommates with Ali Ahmed, so we get along really well. Obviously, he plays for Vancouver, so we have a lot to talk about there. But in general, I would say I'm pretty good with most guys on the team.
And you're also one of the few BC players from BC on this Canadian team as well. We've not seen many players from BC. It used to be the national team was all players from BC, but now it seems like it's just you and Alistair Johnson, who of course was born in BC but developed through the Ontario system. What's the pride of being from Canada's West Coast on a team that's so Eastern heavy?
I think Joel Waterman is also a name. He can count as the BC boy from Surrey. Essentially, it's just me and him, yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting to see. I think Ontario obviously has a lot more people, which would make sense that the team would be more East Coast orientated and guys from Quebec as well. In a sense, I'm proud that I'm a BC boy that represent the national team, but also a bit sad that there's not more of us, that there's no more guys that have come through the pipeline that are constantly representing the national team. But hopefully with time and with some changes to the structure of club football in our country, and it continues to develop, that there will be more. But yeah, there's mixed feelings about that for sure. But I'm so proud to be from BC and to represent British Columbia football.
To that point, could you add a bit of context, I guess, to the Gold Cup when you played at BC Place? I know before you talked in the lead up of how special that was to then go out at a stadium you went to as a fan, you went to as a ball boy, friends and family in the crowd, to score your first Canada goal in a 6-0 win. Like, just take us through how special it was. Is that a night you look back on and be like, wow, especially because next summer's coming around, maybe a bit of, not foreshadowing, say, but at least getting used to that experience, so to speak?
For sure. Yeah, I would say it's probably one of, if not my favorite moment of my career. That and scoring in the derby against Dinamo. But it's always different when there's history there. Growing up, watching games there, and then now when I get to play there, my family's in the stands. A lot of the people that were there watching the game never really watch me. If it is, it's on TV. A lot of first time watching me live for all my cousins and aunts and uncles, and my parents were there as well, my sibling. So that was unbelievable. And then I only found out I don't know how many months ago that 2 of the games were in Vancouver in the World Cup. So when I heard that, I was so excited, and I think even when and if we get out of the group, that it's still in Vancouver. So there's a lot to look forward to, but at the same time, I have to keep my feet on the ground and worry about what I need to do now to be able to go and play again in Vancouver.
How often do you think about what it'll be like to play at BC Place in a World Cup next summer?
Well, definitely it's the biggest stage in world football, the World Cup. To be playing in my hometown, I don't know what the feeling is going to be like. All I know is that when and if that happens, I need to enjoy it, because this is something that will never happen again. I would say that's the most underlying thing. This is what I worked my whole life to do, to enjoy playing football, to play on the biggest stage, to represent myself, represent my family and friends, to represent my country. So it being in my city, there's definitely a little more extra motivation there.
And Niko, what does the communication look like with the players outside of national team camp, or with Jesse outside of national team camp? We hear so much about the brotherhood and the leadership within this group from both the coaching and the player side, but are you guys in touch outside of national team camp, or is it really just when you guys are with the team, both from Jesse's perspective and the player's perspective?
Yeah, I can speak for myself. I'm in touch with guys over Instagram and WhatsApp. I follow essentially everybody's games. I always check the scores and see if they scored or assisted, how they're doing. The atmosphere is very good, and I think that it has to be like that just because there's so little of us playing at a high level. There's not a lot of Canadians in Europe. Even from what I hear in the MLS, there's not a crazy amount of Canadians playing in the MLS as well. So we need to stick together. We need to be there for each other, and the guys are really good. It makes it even better when you're with good people. Obviously, there's a lot of good players, but good human beings. Enjoying success with them is an even better feeling.
So FootMob or SofaScore for you? What's your go-to?
Both.
Oh, both. Okay.
Yeah. The ratings always differ, but I mean they still show if there's a goal or assist and a result. So that's at least something.
And do you guys care about the SofaScore and FootMob ratings? Is that something you guys talk about?
I haven't talked about it with them, but I do check it. I can't lie.
There you go. It's either just like us players. But last one for you, Niko. Just obviously a huge 10 months ahead. No secret. You've got the World Cup next year. Obviously, there's a chance maybe you're looking at a new club. There were some rumors that this summer, with potential you could find yourself in Italy, some of the sorts. Hajduk Split, you guys want to win trophies. Like you mentioned, it's a big club, lots of pressure. Just what are you looking forward to these next 10 months? It's obviously a lot, but this seems like a bit of a dream moment for you as a player. Like what are kind of your goals and what are you looking forward to the next 10 months could do for you personally?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't want to look into too much what could happen after. For me in this moment and talking with close people around me is I need to stay level-headed and focus on what I need to do now. So there's still, if you include this one, 3 more camps before the World Cup. I need to continue doing well with the national team, hoping to get more minutes and to showcase more of what I can do. And then as for club, we're fighting for a championship with Hajduk, so that's a goal of mine to play for trophies, to win trophies, and we'll see. But as for now, I just want to focus on a more day-to-day basis and with my routines, with my quality, with my hard work. That after the World Cup, who knows what could happen. Hopefully something positive happens for me and a lot of the guys here, but I don't want to focus too much on that because there's a lot of work to be done in between.
And you mentioned the World Cup as well. Has there been any talk about how expensive these tickets are for the amount of people that probably want to come see you in Vancouver?
Yeah, I've had a few messages about tickets, and I try to change the conversation. I don't know how that's going to work, but I have to take care of my family first. And I think my other relatives and friends should understand that. So.